the movie Wrong House begins with a girl running in a forest. Then, we see a woman named Susan cutting out house pictures from a journal. Her husband, George, enters and says, "Let's go." She prepares to assist him after answering some questions. George mentions that he wants to bring their daughter, Emmy, who is still sleeping, along with them. Emmy asks if she can stay behind, but George insists, saying, "We're leaving in half an hour." Now, George, Susan, and Emmy are traveling together in a car. The car stops in front of a restaurant, and they all go inside. While there, Emmy notices a man sitting at a corner table, and his face suddenly turns into a horrifying visage, scaring Emmy. However, no one believes her when she mentions it. On the way back, Emmy expresses her desire to return home, but George insists they first visit a house and then return home. After a long journey, they arrive at a house with a for sale sign, which also includes a picture of the owner. Emmy recognizes the man from the restaurant in the picture, but again, her words are ignored. Upon arrival, they hear a speaker welcoming them to explore the house. A message on the speaker says that by pressing a button, they can learn more about the house. Shortly after, another family arrives in a Jeep. Both families meet for the first time. As George's family drives through a forest, they suddenly see a girl in front of their car. She falls and appears injured, with blood on her mouth, making strange noises. She mysteriously touches Emmy's face, but before they can react, the second family arrives and takes her away in their car. Both families end up in front of the for sale house, realizing they are trapped. They attempt to leave in the car, but it stops in front of the house again. The head of the second family suggests they stay inside, although his wife disagrees. Emmy also notes that the strange girl doesn't want to enter the house. George reassures her, saying they'll stay together. The group goes inside, finding it dark. The strange girl sees a man in an upstairs window holding a child's face in his hands. Later, Susan mentions that the strange girl has a fever. The next morning, they are again greeted by the welcome message on the speaker, waking everyone. They realize the strange girl is missing. Looking out the window, they spot a man with a dog. The head of the second family goes outside but disappears. When they return inside, they find the strange girl, and it's revealed that her tongue has been cut. A month later, the woman from the second family is cleaning when she spots a girl outside the window, her deceased biological daughter. The second family's son, Jason, who had been using crutches, is now recovering. Jason goes outside with Emmy, and his father gives him a pistol for protection. Emmy sees a small boy outside the window, rushes back inside, and tells her father. She recognizes the boy from a picture and says it's the same child she saw. Everyone rushes upstairs but finds no one. Meanwhile, downstairs, the lady from the second family opens a box filled with puzzle pieces and begins arranging them. While she contemplates solving it, she hears a voice calling Mommy. Turning around, she sees her younger daughter, the one she saw through the window. The woman embraces her daughter, who whispers something in her ear before vanishing again. The strange girl watches the interaction from the sofa. Later, during dinner, Susan confronts the woman from the second family, accusing her of knowing something. The woman denies any knowledge and insists, "I'm not on file." Susan speaks rudely to her, prompting her to step outside. Once outside, the woman again encounters her daughter, who whispers something in her ear. In the next scene, Susan has a dream in which she sees her husband, George, being violent. Then, she notices a man named Ron sitting in a chair. Suddenly, she wakes up, frightened, and tells her husband, "You can't do this." Meanwhile, downstairs, Emmy is trying to piece together a puzzle. The head of the other family approaches the strange girl standing next to Emmy and begins asking her many questions. He becomes agitated, but Emmy's father reassures him, saying there's nothing to worry about, and everything will be fine. Later, Emmy, Susan, and George head into the forest. Jason's father points a gun at them, accusing them of planning to escape one by one. Emmy's father denies this, saying, "Of course not." The next morning, while washing her face, Emmy sees her mother in the mirror, her throat slit. On the other hand, Susan grabs a small knife and a hammer. She uses the hammer to strike Jason's father in the back, and he is fatally injured. Jason pleads with his father to tell him how they can find the road, but Jason's father dies before answering. George takes Emmy and the strange girl aside as Susan continues to cry. George tells her to stop, and then decides to leave the area. He gives his gun to Emmy so she can protect herself, while he ventures into the forest to find a way out. As George moves deeper into the forest, he hears a voice saying, "Hello." He turns and sees Ron with his dog, but then, he also sees his twin. Emmy and the strange girl hide behind a tree. George pulls the strange girl by her hair and kills her with a hammer. The strange girl dies, and Emmy, panicking, shoots her father with the gun, killing him. Terrified, Emmy runs into the forest and comes across a car. She falls in front of it, and the people in the car help her inside. As she sits in the car, she finds puzzle pieces in her pocket. The car, however, stops in front of the same house again. As she sits there, the ghost boy and his father appear at the other car door. "She's back, Daddy," says the ghost boy as he pulls Emmy toward them. The man cuts Emmy's tongue with scissors. The film ends on a mysterious note, leaving many questions unanswered.